Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Jai Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Jai Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Jai Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast.
Hey guys, Happy New Year. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Jai Gobind. This is your Channel for Grace. Thank you guys so much for watching the replay, if you're watching the replay. And for those of you guys that are here live, welcome into the chat. Let's see who's here. We got K-Stars in here. Happy 2020. Sparky, greetings. KB, how's it going? Happy New Year. Diana, Angela, Erica, Cece, Alexa, Brittany, Wolfstar, Wendy, Rochelle, Rebecca, thank you for tuning in. Stephanie, how are you? April, welcome in. William Lynn, I keep forgetting what your actual name is. So hello, welcome in. Thank you guys all for being here, and Happy New Year. I am so freaking excited for 2020. 2019 was kind of gnarly. To be honest, there was a lot of really, really cool things that happened in 2019, and then a lot of growth, a lot of change, a lot of I think we really started to learn who we really are in 2019, because we really need to know who we are in order to really succeed in 2020. And that's what I think we've been doing, and that's what I think we've been preparing for. And this month is, everything happening this month is, in a general sense, in the astrology, it's it's eye-opening, it's perspective expanding. Those are the kind of things that are happening this month. And there's a lot of big changes that are definitely coming up for all of us in the world, especially when it comes to the structure of society and things like that. So thank you for joining me on this very beautiful and powerful day. And what I'm going to do in this broadcast, I normally pre-record this and upload it, but today I knew I had to go live to do this. And before we actually get into the charts, which I am going to show you for the major events happening in 2020, which I know you guys know, the major one is that Saturn-Pluto conjunction. We're going to talk about that and what that means for us as humanity, as the human race, literally. So 2020 is the year where we start to expand from beyond us into the community at large. And the big changes that are happening are sort of splitting us into two different ways. Those of us that are willing and wanting to do the work to make those changes for the betterment of Earth. And then those of us that are going to resist the change and are going to want things to stay the same. That's just normal and natural. anywhere. We all go through this process as we grow into more mature spiritual beings ourselves. But as a society, we're going to be seeing this on a larger scale. So let's actually talk about a couple of things that are happening on the channel. And this is just exciting stuff. I've been announcing it. Just want to remind you guys that these are going on. I just started doing a new astrology readings, which focus on your life purpose, your mission. And I look at the nodes, aspect to the nodes, Chiron, and aspects with Chiron and with the nodes, and then also any other astrological aspects in your natal chart that have to do with your purpose and your life mission. And it's only $108, and it's a 30-minute session where we do it live, and I will give you a PDF file of the chart and all the notes that I take of all of those transits or all of those aspects that I will be sharing with you during the live session. And I also record it, so you get the recorded video of it, so you can rewatch it as many times as you need to. And I'm really excited to be offering those because it gives you an opportunity to start diving into life purpose and destiny in a way that doesn't, that sort of begins to spark ideas for you on where to go next in your life. Because also, yes, Brittany, so this is different than my extended astrology reading, which I also recommend. The extended astrology reading is the reading where I write up, it's been turning out to be like a 30-page report, you guys, because I go into so much detail. I go into like each of the houses, all of the aspects in each of the planets and what that means and how they're communicating with each other. And I also talk about the transits that are affecting you right now. I also talk about all of 2020 and the major transits that are going to be happening, like the eclipses and the Saturn-Pluto conjunction and the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius next December. All of those major events and how they're going to be affecting you personally. So that extensive reading is $333, but it's also really recommended. And that's for someone who's like really serious. They really want to dive deep into it, and they really want to know in detail, like what 2020 really brings for them. But this reading that I'm talking about right now, which is only 108, yes, exactly. It's sort of like a mini version of that. And it's part of what I actually have been doing live with Jason. Jason and I have been doing these readings, a holiday special. And we will continue to do those readings. The price will increase now because the holiday special was going until December 31st. And I just realized it's the 1st. So it's going to cost a little bit more, but we're still doing those like tandem readings. And it's basically what I do in those readings. I'm going to do for you guys individually if you just want the astrology reading. So wanted to let you guys know. Hello, Arthi, welcome in. And hello, Dawn, welcome in. And hello, Maria, Happy New Year. So that's happening. You guys, I am so excited because on January, we have a new moon in Aquarius on January 24th. And this new moon is also, it aligns with the Chinese New Year. And we're moving into the year of the rat. And this is a whole new cycle of the Chinese New Year. The rat is the first animal of the whole, animal cycle. And it's exciting. So this is a really powerful new beginning. And the Aquarian energy is that innovative, new, like, let's create a new world. Let's build a new world together. And on the 23rd, I am going to be running my next program, which, if you didn't know, I run these 6-week courses, and we are doing the Moon Goddess training again. I did this program last year, and I remember because we started on, I think it was like January 5th of last year, and it was during an eclipse. And we are in eclipse season right now, you guys. We're in between eclipses. The next eclipse is January 10th. It's a lunar eclipse in Cancer. But the energy is powerful. It's potent right now. And the theme of connecting to our heart center, when we think about the North Node in Cancer and connecting to our heart center, this is the energy of the divine feminine, the sacred divine feminine. It is like that Christ consciousness energy. that is activating and really wanting to come out. It needs to come out. It needs to be expressed, and it needs to be understood on a very deep level. And so the Moon Goddess training is for women. Yes, KB, it is for women, and it is to help you understand your power as a woman, as sort of the embodiment of that sacred divine feminine energy, that the moment it realizes what it is, the moment it realizes its power, it really flourishes, it really opens up. And we think about the story or the symbolism of the lotus flower. The lotus flower is important. It just came to me right now. I saw a lotus flower, so I have to talk about it. But the lotus flower is the seventh chakra, which is at the crown of the head. So the crown is the chakra that opens up to the beyond. So every other chakra is like, it's within the body. We've got the root, which is like, the pelvic floor and like the legs and stuff. And then you've got the second chakra, which is the sexual organs. And the third chakra is like your solar plexus, is like the navel center, and this is your willpower. And you've got the heart chakra. So obviously there's a connection to the heart. The throat chakra, the third eye, right? But then when you get to the crown chakra, which is the seventh chakra, this is the pineal gland. And, we hear about stories or, in the mystery schools and, ancient Egyptian knowledge that the pineal gland was actually, they really looked at the pineal gland as something really important. And the pineal gland is the gland that is capable of connecting you to your, to the divine knowledge or the knowledge from the beyond. With your third eye, you can intuit and you can see, but with the pineal gland, you can understand. And the pineal gland and the seventh chakra is represented by the 1,000-petaled lotus, or the unfolding lotus, right? And you think about the lotus and how it actually opens up in the world. In its little world, it lives in the mud, murky waters, right? It lives in these murky waters in the mud. And what it does when it comes up, it literally sort of travels or swims up the lake to the surface, goes through all that mud, through all that murkiness, and then opens up on the top. And so the symbolism of the lotus flower is that it travels upwards. And it goes through that, gnarliness of life. If we compare the lotus flower journey to our journey, it's like we're going through that journey right now as women, because I am talking about the Moon Goddess training, but the sacred feminine is going through that journey. It has been going through that journey, and now it's awakening and stepping into its power and fully blooming or opening up. And when you understand your power, you begin to move through life differently. You engage with people differently. You become empowered. And as you become empowered and you understand yourself at that deeper level, you become that example for others to learn and to grow, and you inspire others. And that's, I think, one of the most powerful ways to really help make change in the world, or continue into this new world that we're moving into, is to, like Gandhi says, is to become the change, be the change that you want to see in the world. You have to become it. Thank you so much for that donation, MSSDs. Yes, 2020 is going to be amazing. So you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. Now that's easier said than done, but some of the things that we're going to learn in the Moon Goddess training is, at a higher perspective, or in a looking at it from the outside, you're literally going to learn to become the change that you want to see in the world. And the way you do that is, well, you start with the little details. So we talk about the moon, because the moon is this very powerful alignment to the feminine. It is the water. It flows. It's the emotions. And women flow with the moon. We literally flow with the moon every month. When we reach maturity, we flow with the moon in a very physical way. You guys know what I'm talking about. And so you can't ignore that like very deep connection. And from there, we dive a little deeper and we talk about the 11 moon centers of the woman. And we talk about how does meditation fit into my life? How can I fit in meditation into my life? What about creating a little an altar for yourself? A lot of us don't quite know the significance of the altar. And so we're going to talk about creating an altar and how you can use your altar and crystals and things like that. We're going to talk about the goddesses that represent each of the moon centers and the example that they have of reaching that very powerful, sacred, divine, feminine energy. Yes, Mother Moon. I love that. And there's so much more, you guys. I haven't yet done this, but I will be creating a video where I'm going to go into a little more detail about everything. But that's just in a nutshell. I don't want to go off talking about the Moon Goddess training. But if you're interested, in the description of this video I just need you to answer a few questions for me and send them to me in an email. Or you can also go to my website, channelforgrace.guru, and click on Moon Goddess Training, enter your name and your email, and you will be emailed the questions, and all you have to do is just hit reply and email. Beth, I'm so here for this. Yes. So that's kind of how you apply for that program. And if you've done a program with me before, there is a discount. So you just have to reach out to me if you're interested, and you have done, like if you just did the Finding the Magic Playground or the couple of other courses. Maybe some of you guys want to do the Moon Goddess training again. I don't know. But just contact me if you have any questions about it. But it's a really powerful thing. And what I am so excited about is creating that community and that support that women really, really need. We really need that as women. So that's going on, starting on January 23rd. I am also having an Etsy sale. Actually, I just realized today's the 1st. Wow, things really go by fast, you guys, like no joke. But anyways, if you're interested at looking at my Etsy shop, I have added some tantric necklaces that are really beautiful, and I also make custom jewelry. So just go check that out. I'll probably extend the sale. I think I might extend it through January. I just have to go in there and kind of change the setting. Because I really want to, I want to move through the stuff that I have, the inventory that I have, and start making new things and putting them on there. So yes, let's see what else. Oh, I have another video, a Conversations with Spirit, scheduled for Monday with my friend Tara, who I've known for a little while. I mean, we're not like best friends or anything, but she's this very beautiful being, very connected to the earth and the wisdom of the earth. And I wanted to invite her to the channel so we can talk about earth wisdom and ritual and connecting at a deeper level with Mother Earth or Pachamama. And so that's going to be happening on Monday. And tomorrow I'll be releasing the January pick a card prediction video for the month. Yes, I know. The Conversations with Spirit episodes are going to get really, really fun. I'm like really excited. I want to bring an astrologer onto the channel as well. So that's coming up too. So those are all the announcements that I have. Make sure you guys follow me on all social media. I'm on Instagram at Channel for Grace. Also Twitter, Channel for Grace. On Facebook, I've got a Facebook page called Jaigo Ben. Make sure you follow that because I do post a lot of things on there. If you're not on Instagram, but you are on Facebook, Jaigo Ben, basically those two accounts are connected. So whenever I post on Instagram, it posts onto that page as well. And that's how you can kind of follow my Instagram account through Facebook. And the other one is my Facebook group, which is called Channel for Grace Soul Tribe. Just request to join the group. And there's a lot of cool things that I post on there, like announcements. And also sometimes I upload videos on there before I put them out public on the channel. So yes, a lot of exciting stuff. 2020 is going to be amazing. So here's what I wanted to talk about before I get into the actual charts. And it is that, setting yourself up for success in 2020 it's going to look a little bit different than you expected. And I wanted to talk about that because mostly we think, yeah, let's set our intentions. Let's do some, New Year's resolutions and Let's promise ourselves that we're going to do, all of these things, right? But there's a little tiny problem with that, or maybe a big problem with that. And the problem with that is, have you noticed that there's been so many times in your life where you've made yourself all of these promises, and then it feels like it's like you don't do them, or you don't follow through with them, or life happens and then you end up like not getting to do those things. And then after a while of that pattern, you get to a point where you realize that you're not accomplishing anything that you wanted. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guilty of this too. It's like, we want to do all these things, and sometimes we can be a little ambitious in the things that we want to do. Then we end up not doing any of them. And then we feel like failures, and we feel like we haven't, reached our maximum. We start to feel really insecure about ourselves. We start to feel like, maybe I can't, like maybe I'm not capable of doing these things. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing it. Maybe this, maybe that. And so we start to think about it in these ways. And I wanted to suggest an exercise that will help you set intentions in a completely different way. And I'm going to, after this, I'm meeting with some of our friends here in a Zoom call, just a little private call. And I wanted to, I'm going to suggest that we do this. So you guys have to, let me know what you think. But this is what I want you guys to do. So setting intentions for 2020 in a completely new and innovative way, which flows with the energy of the times. Just daydreaming, yes. A new approach, exactly. And I will be doing this in the Moon Goddess training. We will be doing this exercise as well together. So you can do it now on your own, and then you could do it again on January 23rd with me in the group. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to switches notebooks. I want you just write the instructions down. You don't have to do it right now because we're going to go over the charts, but I just want to give you the exercise, and then you do it once the video is done for yourself. If you're really wanting to really get this, you really get finally on a path that you really want to be on. Okay. So the reason that we don't accomplish things is because we end up not trusting ourselves. So the reason that you're not doing the things that you actually want is because you don't trust yourself, because you don't feel like you're good enough. You don't feel like you can do it. You don't feel like you've got the guts or the courage or the whatever skills or whatever. You just don't feel like you can do it. You do not trust yourself. But here's the thing. The reason you don't trust yourself is because you've been making these promises to yourself over and over and over and over and over again, and you have not been keeping your promises. Imagine if you kept promising a child something, right? I promise you that we're going to go to Disneyland next month, right? Next month comes around and something comes up. We can't go. I promise we'll go next month. All right, next month comes up, something else comes up. We can't go, but I promise you we'll go next month. And it doesn't happen. Life happens, right? Things get in the way, right? So the kid eventually is going to be like, whatever, you're a faker. You know what I mean? You're a liar. You're not going to do it. Like, so that little child actually is another way of saying that's that little voice inside your head, the observer inside your head that says, you don't have what it takes. You've already promised that. Like, yeah, right, you're going to do that. Yeah, right, you're going to lose 30 pounds or whatever. Yeah, right, you're going to go to the gym every day. Yeah, right, you're going to start drinking more water. Yeah, right, you're going to, do this or do that. You know what I mean? That little voice in your head is putting you in check and saying, you know what, actually, you're not going to do it. And I know you're not going to do it because you haven't done all this other stuff that you said you were going to do. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a list of all of the things that you have promised yourself that you were going to do. I don't care if your list is 1,000 pages long, okay? I just want you to write down everything that you have promised yourself that you were going to do. I promised myself I was going to go to the gym every day. I promised myself I was going to start reading more. I promised myself I was going to sign up for, this program that I really wanted to do. I promised myself I was going to work on finding a new job. I promised myself I was going to start that new project or start that new business that I wanted to start. I promised myself that I was going to, change my eating habits. I promised myself that I was going to do a 40-day cleanse. Every single thing that you promised yourself you were going to do. I promised myself I was going to do a 40-day meditation. I promised myself I was going to do this, blah, 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 blah. You just make your list and you know what those things are. Everything that you've ever said you were going to do and you didn't do. Okay? That's the first step. You make your list. The second step is you go through that list and the things that you can do right now, you need to just do them. You need to just do them. If you can do it, you need to do it. Hey, Stacy. Okay? The things that you can't quite do right now, you're not ready to do right now, you're going to set a date for yourself for the future. Maybe in 3 months, you will revisit that idea. And in 3 months, when it's time to revisit that idea, you look at it and you say, do I need more time? Or am I ready to do this? If you need more time, just set another future date, maybe 3 more months, you're going to revisit. But between the now and the time where you're going to revisit, you don't worry about it. You do not worry about it. You do not put yourself down about it. You just let it go and you focus on the things that you can do. If in those 3 months, when it's time to revisit that idea, you realize, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to do that. I just don't think I'm ever going to do it. I think I just keep saying I'm going to do it, but I don't really think I'm going to do it. Maybe I don't really want to do it. So you know what? You're going to give yourself the gift of taking that thing off your list. And you're going to move on. Okay? And eventually, all of those things on the list that you know you can do or that you are going to do are going to get done. Do you see the difference in approaching it this way? Because you will never be successful in life until you keep those promises. Stop lying to yourself. Stop trying to do it and just do it. But it's a really nice way of organizing it in a way and letting yourself off the hook. Some of these things, maybe they were amazing ideas at one point, but right now you're just not going to do it, and you need to be okay with that. You need to focus on the things that you can do. So if you can do them right now, you do them. Just start doing it. If you can't, set a date to revisit it. And then when you set that date and you get to that day, you revisit that idea and you say, am I going to do this? Okay, yes. Or am I not going to do this? Okay, no. So we take it off the list. Or I think I want to revisit this. I'm not ready to revisit this idea yet, so we're going to do it later. That feels and sounds a lot better than making those New Year's. Yeah, it's way better because you will not be successful unless you deal with all that mountain of stuff that you said you're going to do that you haven't done, that keeps you from believing in yourself. The minute you start to cross those things that really matter off your list, your life is going to change, you guys. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to start to feel more confident. You're going to start to feel like, I can do it. I can do this. Oh my God, I'm freaking doing it. I'm freaking doing it. And then you get so confident and so like courageous that you finally truly understand that you can do anything you set your mind to. You can do anything you set your mind to. But you gotta cross those things off the list. It was so powerful. Like when I first heard of this idea, I had never heard it put in this way. Hey there. And it blew my mind. I was like, how come no one's ever said this? But it's because we keep setting New Year's resolutions, but in the back of my mind, in the back of our minds, we don't believe that we can really do them. So we're self-sabotaging ourselves before we even try to start. Before you even start, you've already sabotaged yourself. Let's not do that this year. Let's catch up. Right? Let's do that. Yes, break the pattern of allowing yourself to break promises to yourself. Yes. Hey, Deidre. So let's do it. So I want to do that today and, or in the next couple of days, you don't have to right now, you don't have to do it right now, but definitely set time aside to do that for yourself. And I want to know how it goes because it's powerful stuff. So let me drink a little of my drink. Thank you guys for being here and being in the chat and hanging out with me, and Happy New Year, everybody that's coming in for the first time. Make sure you do watch this video from the beginning. But we're going to go into the charts right now for January of 2020. What do you think? It's a powerful month. There is a lot of changes coming. We're not coasting yet. I actually don't even think we're gonna coast this year. Yes, be accountable. Yes, I love that. But we are focusing. We are going to be shown a higher view, a bird's eye view of what's really happening. I think that's what January is all about. The bird's eye view of what's happening with the planet and with the earth. So let me switch to the iPad display. It is going to be amazing. I'm really excited. And with this new way of setting intentions, I just feel like it's revolutionary. Speaking of revolutionary, we need revolutionary ways of doing things. We need new ways of doing things right now. That is how we're going to get through 2020. If you go with the flow, but you go with the changes, then you will be on the right path. If you resist the change, not going to work. Thank you, Brittany. Yes, if you X out of the chat and give the video a thumbs up, it will help it to circulate and get the word out so more people can join the channel and the community. We're loading the stuff in the car before we go. Yeah, exactly. All right, so here we go. This is the chart for January 1st, today. So what's happening today? We are looking at a conjunction between Jupiter and Mercury. And this conjunction is trining Uranus as well as squaring Chiron. And here's the significant thing about these transits. I'm going to go through each of the charts and I'm going to talk sort of in detail about each specific day and the aspect. Then you'll see that it does build this really powerful story of change, powerful change coming for all of, this month of January. So we know that Jupiter is the planet of expansion. We know that Mercury is the planet of the mind. So Jupiter gives us this opportunity to see the bigger picture. It's going to expand our ability to understand our path ahead and everything that is going on. In Capricorn, this is an energy of understanding so that we know how to be responsible in our own way. With the square to Chiron, Chiron is actually strengthening our will and our mind. And our consciousness is being activated about the things like that have to do with big social change, social justice, freedom. And that energy of freedom is significant because that's so Aquarius, and we are moving into the age of Aquarius. So the Aquarian freedom loving revolutionary energy is what is being activated. Chiron is energizing our minds and increasing our intuition and our psychic skills with this aspect. There's so much power being activated here that it becomes important to really ground yourself. Thank you, Deidre, for that donation. Yes, it is our year. This aspect is like us becoming the magician. Chiron and Mercury. Chiron is like, he's the wounded healer, but he's also the sacred warrior. Mercury is the magician, right? So Chiron activates the magician. And the magician is being expanded by Jupiter. And they're all in Capricorn, which is we are now in the phase of creating or doing magic where the things start to appear, where things start to solidify, to go from the thinking process to the actual manifesting of it and having something in your hand, tangible. It becomes tangible now. And this is literally how we start the month, which means that there is a lot coming ahead. If we need to have this kind of, wider, bigger perspective, that means that we are needing that perspective because of what's coming. Sort of the mind needs to expand to be able to understand what's really going on. And that's a bigger perspective with Uranus too, is it's a revolutionary shift that's happening. So we need to be ready to receive, to perceive things and process them intelligently and responsibly and with a readiness to use our powers of the magician, right? That Mercury energy in a positive way. We need to be able to use it in a positive way. But that's how we start the month, you guys. I mean, I feel like we're starting it with a bang. The next chart that I want to show you is for January 3rd. So in 2 days, on January 3rd, Mars, the planet Mars, moves into the sign of Sagittarius. And when it moves into Sagittarius, it's going to be trining Chiron. Remember, Chiron always sort of brings this like magical aspect to things. Chiron activates things in a very magical, alchemical kind of way. That's what Chiron does. So Mars in Sagittarius is us like wanting to take risks, to do what is right. It's like our ethical and highly principled side coming out to play. Mars is, how do we take action? Mars in Sagittarius, it doesn't bend and it doesn't lower its standards in any way. This is the strength to do what is right and honorable. Our quest for spiritual freedom and integration takes on a whole new level with Mars in Sagittarius. This is also about being courageous and adventurous. That's very Sagittarian. It's a Jupiter energy. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So you have to remember there's always those deeper connections that you can find in astrology. When you think of the sign and the rulerships of the sign, so, Jupiter is, we're building a new world, and the action that we're taking takes on this Sagittarian flavor, which is the rulership of Jupiter, which means that this is a spiritual quest ruled by the 9th house. It's spiritual quest. And we're on an adventure. We're on an adventure to go discover the new world. And with the trine to Chiron, Chiron brings in this like lucky energy to it. It's an ability for us to intuit when to make a move, anticipating exactly the moment to make the breakthrough. That's what Chiron is activating in this aspect. And the fact that Chiron is in Aries, which is the ruler of Mars, this activates Mars' natural essence of being the sacred warrior. So it's almost like here you are, the sacred warrior, your mind starts becoming expanded, and then you are ready and wanting and desiring to take action in your life that has to do with finding out, the truth, with becoming that sacred warrior, with being on that quest to really change the world, pretty much. To bring more principled and energy into the world, to bring honor, right? When I think of like Sagittarius energy, I think of like honor. It's almost like we're bringing honor back into the world. And that's a very interesting energy. We really have lost that, in a sense, in our society. We have lost the sense of honor, and respect and things like that. But I think that that's going to slowly come back with a new like flavor. But that's what Mars is. Now we want to be on this spiritual quest and take it to a whole nother level. On January 8th, this is the next chart, you have Jupiter conjuncting the South Node at 8 degrees. And this is going to be making a trine to Uranus. Uranus has been in so much communication with has been in so much communication with all of these aspects going on this year. And what that means is that Uranus is bringing in that energy of change and revolution, because it is ruled by Aquarius. So Jupiter is going to be exactly conjuncting the South Node, because they're going to be exact both at 8 degrees of Capricorn, trining Uranus. And on that same day, there's also going to be this grand trine, and it's going to be in air between Venus, the moon, and Juno. Venus being the planet of love, which is in Aquarius now. The moon being in Gemini, which is that, quick mind, quick thinking. And then Juno being in Libra, which is the air sign of like the balance. But a grand trine in air actually strengthens the intellect. And the other thing that's happening on this day, Mercury, who's right here at 16 degrees, is exactly sextiling Neptune. And remember, okay, look at this. Saturn and Pluto are already at 22 degrees. It's not exact until January 12th, but they're already conjunct, which means this whole month, that's the biggest theme of the whole month, is this Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And it begins pretty much on this day. So in order to understand where you are going, you need to know where you came from. When we think about the South Node, you have to remember the South Node is all about the past, what already happened. Jupiter is asking us to take a close look at our past, but in terms of society, our structural past, how everything has been built and structured up to this point. It's also saying this is all about to change, because Capricorn builds towards a future, builds towards success. Capricorn is not a stagnant energy. It is a slowly building energy, but it is not stagnant. It doesn't like to stay like Taurus, right? Taurus likes to stay. It's very stubborn. Capricorn is like, no, we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. And structure as we know it, in general, is changing really, really fast. And it is through the hard work, which is very Capricorn, that we will move into success in our lives, but we must not forget where our heart lies. The trine to Uranus adds, the big picture that we are seeing. It shows us the direction of where we're actually going from here. The grand trine in air is strengthening our intellect, so we are able to really understand more. And the Neptune, the sextile between Neptune and Mercury, this is strengthening our spiritual connection to the universe. It's an exact sextile. And it's activating our intuition and our ability to communicate these very sort of expansive ideas that need to come through, right? The mind, all of these things. All of these things are like, I feel like January is a month where our minds are really going to be like opened up, expanded in a way that if you have done the work up to this point, I feel like it will be easy for you to go to that next level. But if you've been resisting it, that it's going to be very challenging for you. You can't, you are going to want to be stuck, right? We're so close to that Saturn-Pluto conjunction at this point. And 2 days after this, we get the full moon. And it is a full moon solar eclipse. Lunar eclipse, sorry. It is a full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer. Moon opposes the sun. 20 degrees. This full moon is going to be opposing Mercury, obviously Saturn, Pluto. It's going to be squaring Juno. And Juno represents marriage, relationships, soulmate relationships, twin flame relationships, sacred contracts. This is like the romantic side. Juno represents that sort of aspect of our lives. And it'll also be trining Neptune. And I think that's going to be the most beautiful thing of this full moon lunar eclipse, is that aspect to Neptune, which is in Pisces, activating our dreams and reminding us to connect to our heart, to what we love, to what makes us feel like we're finally home, However, the opposition with Mercury, like all of this stuff that the moon is opposing, which is Saturn, Pluto, Mercury, Jupiter, the south node, that's a lot to be in opposition of your heart. It's a lot to be like, you're standing here and this is your heart space, and over there is all of these things like wanting to pull you back, right, towards the past, or wanting you to see the reality of things, because that's a very Saturn ruled energy. It's like, hey, look at the reality of life. And sometimes we don't really want to see the reality of life. We want to stay in that space of the dreams, right? And the love and the compassion. And when you're in your heart space, you can overcome a lot of things. You can create magic, and reality it kind of does go out the window when you really truly connect it in your heart space, because you realize that you become that master manifester by bringing things to life that are beautiful. And so the eclipse is a nice reminder, because it is in Cancer, and Cancer is, where the North Node is. It is a really nice reminder that we can connect to where we feel like we're home. We need to continue to search for the answers. And this moment becomes a glimpse at our true purpose, to remind us that through all the change and all the chaos, there is still hope. It's literally what that is saying. And there is going to be a lot of changes. The next day, this is really interesting. The next day, right now, of all of these planets on this chart, the only planet that is retrograde is Uranus. The nodes are kind of, they go backwards. They, like, compared to all the other planets, they go, the planets go, most of them go clockwise, but then the nodes are always going backwards. So you don't really think of the nodes as retrograde. They just do their thing, and they don't go direct or retrograde. It's just always kind of going forward. except they go in the opposite direction. It's hard to explain. But anyways, Uranus, actually, I think Uranus is a planet that does go the same direction as the nodes. However, Uranus has been retrograde for a while, and the next day after this full moon lunar eclipse, Uranus actually goes direct. When planets are retrograde, this is like an internal process, and when planets are direct, this becomes an external process. With every single planet being direct the day after this full moon lunar eclipse, that means we're like full speed ahead towards the exact Saturn-Pluto conjunction. That means that every single planet is going to be direct. And this doesn't happen very often. When it does, it's like the boost. It's almost like when you think of, the way that I think of it is like planets go retrograde and it kind of slows things down. But then when everything goes direct, it's almost like the battery was running low, and so the whole machine got replaced with a new battery. And in that process, what ended up happening is it gave the whole system a boost. And that's what it is. It's a boost for the whole system. So the changes that we're going through is going to be even stronger because it's going to be kind of going full speed ahead. It's like the Titanic, you know, full speed ahead at a fucking iceberg. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy, but that's exactly what this is like. It's like full speed ahead towards the iceberg. But we know that the iceberg is coming and we know that it has to happen. That's the difference. We're not unexpectedly moving towards the iceberg. We know the iceberg is there and we're like, okay, we're getting ready for it. But that iceberg represents like the changes and the shifts. And I'm going to talk about now the actual Saturn-Pluto conjunction, you guys. That is happening. It's going to be exact on January 12th. And I know it's crazy, but the 12th is the day. It's crazy that there's an eclipse at the same time. This conjunction is actually happening with the sun too, which is actually really interesting. But what's an iceberg? Get out. Get out. To explain this transit better, we need to understand Pluto as a planet and Saturn as a planet and what they stand for, what they do. Saturn is the lord of karma. He's also the lord of time and karma, right? That's like restriction and responsibility, and you know what I mean? Like you can't just get away with whatever you want. It's like the hammer that comes down, right? He teaches us how to mature, how to grow up. He reminds us that there are limitations and restrictions in this world. That's time. My hair is like really tight. I need to put it down. But that's time. It's a restriction. Time is also an illusion. You know what I mean? Time is also an illusion, but in this sense, it's a restriction because it holds us back from the possibilities, right? What if the world wasn't ruled by time? Society in general, you know? Pluto destroys and transforms things. If Saturn is the structure, right? If Saturn represents the structure and the rules of society and the old ways of doing things, because honestly, it's very much the old way of doing stuff, right? That's what Saturn in Capricorn is the epitome of the old ways, okay? If Saturn is this, represents this part of our lives, and it is in a massive conjunction with Pluto, who is also in Capricorn, and this conjunction with Saturn in its home sign of Capricorn and Pluto also in Capricorn, it's like, I think over 100 years or something like that it actually happens. And every time that it does happen, significant changes come to society at large. So Pluto, if that's what Saturn represents, the old way, right? the patriarchy, or however we want to call it, the old way. Pluto is destroying it and transforming it into something new. This is what 2020 is about. It's not just about ourselves anymore. It becomes about the whole world. Bring on the iceberg. It becomes about like how we as humanity will respond. How are we going to respond to this? Are we going to, because this is like the epitome of that story of the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. The caterpillar is going to become a butterfly. You can't stop that process. We can't stop that process. The only way to literally, I heard somebody say this, it was actually Rick Levine. The only way to stop the caterpillar from becoming the butterfly is to literally kill the caterpillar. But you can't really kill the caterpillar. Not this time. Not with this kind of momentum. Not with all planets direct. Pluto is literally killing the old structures. And they're going to break down. And that's what we're going to see. We're going to see it breaking down in our external environment when it comes to society. Changes in the world. Big changes. Like worldwide things. It's not just us anymore. I feel like we have been going through this process so that we can be ready. And especially if you're a light worker, like you have to be the example. You have to show people, well, what the hell, what do we do? What do we do now? What do we do next? What happens next? You have to be that example. You have to be that beacon of light that shows that the world, the rest of the people of the planet or whatever, that it's okay. It's okay. Like this is normal. This is like sort of, it's written in the stars. It's happening. You know what I mean? And so you have to just go with it. That's the whole point. That's why we're here. We got to show people that you just got to keep going. You just got to keep walking. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, we hit the iceberg. Like, just get on a lifeboat. It's not that good of a comparison, but it kind of is. I think this is a funny comparison that I use. But okay, so you know how like the whole idea of like, in the actual Titanic story, they have a lot of lifeboats. They definitely don't have enough lifeboats for everybody, but they do have lifeboats, but they make the wrong, like they don't fill them up all the way, right? That's one of the things that happens. And it's like they don't fill the lifeboats up to capacity like they really could. Then half the people are like freaking out, right? You got more than half of the people freaking out. You've got some people like, they're trying to like get, okay, we gotta survive this, so we gotta move forward, and they're like on top of it. They understand the situation, and they kind of hover above the chaos, right? That's the light workers. The light workers are the ones hovering above the chaos. Everyone else is kind of like either freaking out or they understand and they're trying to help out, right? But where we're at right now is, first of all, you need to get yourself on a lifeboat. You know what I mean? And you need to make sure that you're hovering above the chaos, not letting it consume you, because this is not about letting it consume you. This is about getting on the right boat, right? And you can't really use the fullness of that example, because not everything that happened in the Titanic and the way that it happened really represents what I'm talking about. But just that part of it where everything is gonna get like a big boom change, there's a hit, and then everything is falling apart, and we have to do this, like start building the new world. And I think this is where humanity is splitting, and why this is such a powerful time to be alive. Because like I said, as light workers, we just need to keep shining our light, being those beacons of light in a world that is falling apart. Because we know that the future leads to our heart. Right now, we have that North Node in Cancer. And we are the ones who will lead others to their hearts as well. By being and living in our own hearts, you become the example of where we are going as a humanity. And that's the significance of this transit, you guys. It's powerful stuff. This isn't, we've been feeling this, like it's already happening, but the most powerful energy of it will be on the 12th. That's going to be the exact. On the 13th, Venus moves into the sign of Pisces. And it does a whole bunch of stuff. It conjuncts Black Moon Lilith. It sextiles Uranus. It opposes the moon in Virgo. At the same time, there's this like grand trine in Earth, which actually strengthens like the abundance factor. It strengthens our ability to manifest things. That's an Earth grand trine. And Mars in Sagittarius is going to be, so here's Mars, he's going to be T-squaring the moon and the opposition between the moon and Venus. And the moon is going to be quincunxing Chiron. Okay, like Venus and Lilith are also trining the North Node. This day is intense, you guys. Now that's too much to go over right now. It's too much. But in a general sense, this is a moment for us to connect to our sensitivity. That's Venus in Pisces. To get in touch with our emotions, right? We have this whole chaotic thing going on. Venus moves into Pisces, and it's time for us to just remember to be caring and compassionate. The new world that we're building is not gonna happen unless we are, collaborating and building community. Obviously not letting people run all over you, but having compassion. It actually is a kite, but it's aspected, this is an aspect to the midpoint, which normally is only really significant. The actual kite is aspecting the midpoint, which that would be important in someone's natal chart, but not for a collective astrology. But that's a good point. There is a kite there. So this is a moment for us to connect to our heart space and to remember where it is that we're going. And that's why I love that. And I'll show you that later on in the month. Venus and Neptune actually exactly conjunct in Pisces later on. Now, the next powerful thing that is happening is on the 16th. And that is that Mercury enters into Aquarius and it sextiles Chiron. Again, remember, Chiron and Mercury have these like powerful activations. So our mind is activated here with new ideas. That's Aquarius. Innovation, technology. We will feel clear and our imagination will activate. And this is a point in time where people are going to start to kind of open their minds, because you have to be open-minded in a world that's changing, right? Because if you resist, you hold yourself back. But if you stay open-minded, you're able to like go along with the changes. This also brings up the whole idea of being the student and always being in that place of the student. Always knowing that even when you're a teacher, you're always in the seat of the student. It's that, what's the name of that book? Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. I think in that book, this concept is sort of explained really well. But when you continue, when you solidify or when you harden yourself, you're not flexible. But the student is flexible because the student has the open mind and the ability to learn. Here's another thing that is significant. I heard, where did I hear it? It was I was watching some TV series. And someone said to this girl, you're ignorant, but you're not an idiot. being ignorant is not a bad thing, because ignorance can learn, but like being an idiot can't learn, you know what I mean? Or like just being too stubborn and stuff like that's not an ability to learn. That's not open-mindedness. So I don't know if that message is coming through clearly or not for you guys, but that's what I'm getting, is that our minds are opening up, and we're moving into the world of in the age of Aquarius, and the sextile to Chiron adds to this activation of the mind in the energy of Aquarius, because it produces a strong and exacting mind and an extraordinary ability to create something and convey the meaning of this creation to others. So it's not just about activating the mind, it's then about activating the creative aspect of the mind and coming up with new things that are important, that need to be sort of manifested. Because how are we going to build a new world? We need to have new ideas. We need to be open-minded. We need to like let those things come through. We can't stop them or restrict them or have rules about what's allowed and what's not allowed. It's kind of, you have to let it do its thing. On January 20th, the sun moves into Aquarius, and it meets up with Mercury. Not an exact conjunction, but it's right there, 6 degrees apart. And it sextiles the moon, which is actually conjunct Mars, but then this makes a yod to the north node. And that's the significant part of this day, when the sun moves into Aquarius. It makes a yod with the sextile to the moon, which is in Sagittarius, and the yod pointing towards the north node. And there will also be this Pisces stellium in the sky. So that Pisces, that compassionate, loving energy is sort of, it's coming into the picture. The sun is also going to be sextiling Chiron, who is over here, squaring Uranus and conjuncting Mercury, like I said. So we enter Aquarius season with the sun, meeting Mercury in Aquarius. And the sextile to the moon also brings in confidence and an ease to achieve whatever we set out to do. And remember, in Sagittarius, this is the quest for the truth. And we're pointing that yod towards the north node in Cancer, activating the power of the moon in a really powerful way. And the moon is intuition and emotions. And the guiding light, you know how we always say we're like moving towards the North Star, like always go towards the North Star? This is like sort of, there's a lot of little things in January that are foretelling. They foretell a story, I think, to me anyways, it seems like, of 2020. It's like foretelling, what's coming. And this is, even though there's all this change and shift, just keep facing your true north. And that's what I feel is the message here. The sextile to Chiron brings this profound depth and opportunity to bring forth a significant work into the world. So again, we've got that creative aspect being activated and people being inspired to create things that will make a change in the world. And the square to Uranus is a different way of doing things that gets activated. It's us being very free-spirited, or letting ourselves be free-spirited for the first time in our lives maybe. And this free-spirited nature awakens, and we're ready to create big time. On January 23rd, there's 2 more charts to show you. January 23rd is the new moon in Aquarius. 24th. And it's significant. It's happening at 4 degrees of Aquarius. This is also the beginning of the Chinese New Year. Remember I was saying it's the year of the rat. But the moon will be squaring Uranus. There you go. There's the conversation to Uranus again. There's the conversation to Chiron again. There's another conversation with, Black Moon Lilith, because she's also there with Chiron. Venus is going to be, almost exactly, it's getting there, almost exactly conjunct with Neptune. But Chiron is also T-squaring the nodes. Again, this is a very powerful day. And remember that new moons are about, they plant seeds, they're beginnings of something. So I think it's beautiful that at the beginning of 2020, we are having this powerful new moon in Aquarius foretelling the end of 2020, which is the beginning of the age of Aquarius on December 21st. That's the solstice, where Saturn and Jupiter move into Aquarius and conjunct at 0 degrees of Aquarius. The North Node is also going to be trining Venus and Neptune. So even though, what I see is that even though there's like harsh aspects, there's also really softening aspects. There's things that remind us of the beauty of life. Through the harshness, we still find the beauty in it all. We start to see the beauty in it all. On this day is that exact conjunction between Neptune and Venus, and the moon will be sextiling and trining the nodes. So again, this is destiny, moving forward with compassion. And that's how we end the month. Pretty powerful stuff, you guys. Let's transition back to May. And there was a couple of things that I wanted to show you guys. So what do you guys think about all this? You're very intensely listening. I love that. So what I wanted to show you is, so I wanted to go, just before we end the broadcast, the Sabian symbols is something that I've been really excited about looking into. And the major events have powerful Sabian symbols, and they've been kind of showing us this theme that is playing itself out during these powerful, I have pages and pages of notes. I freaking love that. Yeah, it's going to be a great month. So I wanted to read you the Sabian symbols for the new moon, the full moon in Cancer. Well, I guess we'll start with the full moon, and then the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. You're not the one that's breaking the iceberg, Dawn. The iceberg is being broken automatically. You're just the one that has to clean up the mess. We all do. In a good way, not in a bad way. It is very loaded. This is one of the most loaded months. There's a lot in 2020 that is loaded. I don't think it's a simple year at all. So the Sabian symbol, the full moon is happening at 20 degrees of Cancer. And remember, full moons are about, releasing and letting go. I'm excited too. So this is the Sabian symbol for the full moon in Cancer. A noble rides up a thorny mountain track towards a castle, followed by a straggling line of subjects. He's going to ask the king to give a higher status to his people. This is about having a mission that defines one's path in lives. This is about the heroes and the heroines. It's insight into the true possibilities of one's situation. It's confidence. It's being sure-footed. It's progress that draws followers and leads to success. Confidence in one's eventual triumph. Think about all these things. This is that full moon in Cancer where we're being reminded of where we're going, right? This is compassion, right? This is being a champion or a spokesperson for the oppressed. May have to repeatedly change direction to reach their goal. Isn't that the truth, right? This is protecting the weak, the wounded by the sufferings of humanity. This is being a leader versus finding a worthy leader. This is doing what is needed. This is rising to the occasion. This is taking a passionate stand for one's beliefs, surviving tests of moral and physical courage, surviving long enough to realize one's capabilities, serving as a shining exemplar, right? Isn't that the light worker? Showing one's love for humanity with commitment and sacrifice, mysteries of the rose, cross, and the grail. Like, that is powerful, you guys. That's the full moon in Cancer. And then the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. This is the Sabian symbol for the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. At a party rally, a respected veteran is helped up to the dais and given a flattering introduction. His speech, however, promotes policies at odds with the party's official stance. And this is about serving the interests of the community, losing themselves in a cause. It's a confidence that one understands the key problems facing society and that one's solutions are more or less correct. This is leadership in the political sphere. This is social or the political sphere, social or the spiritual realms. Leadership in general. This is educating the public on issues of general concern. Speaking from the heart in a way that resonates with the public. Compassionate outreach. Rising to the top of one's field through reliable performance and sober judgment. Gaining a respected and authoritative public voice. It's intellectual integrity. The voice of dissent as the voice of reason. All of these things are like, they're epic to me. What's happening? And then with the new moon in Aquarius at the end of the month, we get this Sabian symbol. Pushing aside strands of cobwebs and calmly ignoring the ghosts at his side, a man marches resolutely out of a crypt and into the sunlight. Like, wait, what? Right? This is recognizing when one has fallen into a nowhere scene or a depressive mental state and doing what one can to get out of it. I mean, this is like the aftermath of the Titanic, right? Looking after one's spiritual health by cultivating optimism, hope, and love. Discriminating good from bad influences and steeling oneself against the latter. Overly receptive to astral entities and to negative images within the group mind. That's the fourth dimension. This ability can be exploited by writers of occult or horror fiction, developing positive momentum, leaving behind past discouragements and marching into a bright vision of the future, setting forth to find romance and adventure, galvanizing one's will to live. This is crazy. Yeah, I know, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. This is the, dude, I mean, think about it. We started, the first chart was all about our minds are opening up. That's what's happening today, that Jupiter conjunct Mercury. Trining Uranus and squaring Chiron. This is our mind, like, poof, that's how we start the month. Like, this is exactly what's happening right now. It's like, my intuition said, you need to do this live. And you need to read the Sabian symbols and blah, 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 blah. Like, you just keep listening to your intuition and you don't ask questions. You just do it. Also starting with the whole, exercise that we talked about, where it's all about, you got to freaking do what you said you were going to do. Do what you said you were going to do. Show yourself that you're an honorable person to yourself. That's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And here we are ending it with, the Sabian symbols. I think this month is going to be really powerful. I think it's also going to be, a little heavy. I think that we're heading in the right direction. Yes, exactly. Boom. And I think that we're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. Just keep doing the work. I am too, Brittany. I am too. I really enjoy this. So again, thank you guys so much for being here, for watching with me, for hanging out, for supporting the channel too. Like, thank you for, I posted it in my community board, thank you for an awesome year. 2019 was the year where I pretty much went and started doing my YouTube channel more seriously. I could say 2019 was the year where I started, I became a YouTuber in a sense. And that is really, really cool for me. And I can't wait to watch this channel continue to grow and expand, and for all the things that will come out of this creativity that's really being activated, our minds opening up, and us learning to see the world in a completely different way. Yes, you're welcome, everyone. Please share this video out with your friends. Don't forget to check out the new astrology readings I'm doing. You can sign up on my website, channelforgrace.guru. Please sign up for the Moon Goddess training, and don't hesitate to ask any questions about it. And make sure that you're following me on all social media so you stay connected. Thank you guys so much. Happy New Year, and let's make it a really awesome 2020. Sat Nam.